Well, welcome to it. Time to have a look at what's happening in terms of markets performance. We did see a mixed Asian performance with the Chinese markets leading the region lower. This is on concerns of the COVID situation that is taking place in China. Investors are concerned that this is going to have an impact on the economy. Already some of the investment managers are revising their GDP forecast for China. We did see the authorities yesterday, the central bank leaving their lending rate unchanged. And this disappointed investors because they were hoping for some kind of stimulus to support an economy that is being sagged rather by the COVID lockdowns. Nonetheless, in other news, we are waiting for Fed Chair Jerome Powell and ECB President Christine Lagarde to address an IMF event. Investors are going to be paying attention to the remarks at those events because they're looking for clues in terms of Fed policy as well as inflation outlook for both the US and, of course, the European Union. Nonetheless, we are seeing a rand locally that is weaker for a fourth straight session. To talk to us about some of the dynamics that are impacting our markets, and of course, to talk about some of the other events unfolding as well, we are joined by Carmen Belona from ABSA Asset Management. Carmen, thank you so much for your time. We're seeing our local markets weaker, and I'm curious, from your perspective, what's driving our markets lower with the Aussie down about 0.5%?
I think the overriding factor today has been the trading statements put out by the Anglo Group. BHP also came out with a trading statement this morning, as well as Rio Tinto late yesterday. So there's definitely been a negative sentiment. We've seen production guidance brought down in the Anglos Group, as well as supply issues and production issues for Rio and BHP. So the Resi down over 3% today. So definitely a significant drag on the JSE. ABSA, unfortunately, also was down overnight after the sale of Barclays 50% of their holding, but that has recovered slightly this morning, up to about 170 Rand.
The other company that caught my attention yesterday was Tonggat. They announced to the market that they may need to tap shareholders for more cash in order to shore up the balance sheet. And from your perspective, I mean, what do you make of the company's story and their attempts to want to turn themselves around following the accounting scandal that rocked the company?
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems to be that Tongat's in a perfect storm. As you've mentioned, they had the scandal, which to date, unfortunately, they haven't directly addressed. But obviously, as investors, we all know what's been happening. Add on to that the negative results that came out, or the trading statement that came out, guiding that earnings will be down at least by 120%. That largely on the back of the unrest, number one, and the impact thereof, where operations were reduced, but also the exposure of the yearly or the years that's been coming on in terms of lack of maintenance on production facilities. So that has seen a significant decline in production for the group. As you've mentioned, they've got a significant debt burden, and that has increased to about 6.8 billion now. Which means that they're looking to increase their rights issue by 1 billion. Never a good thing. They're also under a tight deadline until 29th of April in terms of meeting their debt obligations or restructuring. And that's only, 8 days away. So it looks to be that investors have lost confidence. And there's obviously the overriding point of the takeover regulation that's looking into this rights issue as well and how that's being funded or underwritten. So lots of negatives. Share price down almost 30% yesterday. And in my opinion, unlikely to recover anytime soon.
What's your assessment of Old Mutual's proposed black empowerment deal that is about 2.8 billion rand? I had a bit of a mixed assessment, I suppose, when speaking to other market watchers. And I'm curious in terms of your thoughts about the proposed deal.
Yeah, so we see it at a discount to yesterday's market price. I think it's about a 17% discount is the offering, which is normal for BE transactions to enable the investors to come in at a preferential rate, but it does come up with a lock-in period of between 5 to 10 years, depending on your category of investor. They have guided that their target is going to be low-income employees, as well as Black investors outside of the company as well. Look, it was well guided. In 2018, they made a pledge to reach 30% BEE shareholding by June 2023, and this will take them to that 30%. They were at 25, or would be at 25% at present before this BEE deal. So yeah, I don't think the market is too shocked by it. In terms of whether it's fair or not, I can't give too much commentary. I haven't looked at what the prospectus looks like. So yeah, I'll withhold on that.
So we're already in U.S. earnings season with the banks having kicked us off. We saw those disappointing numbers out of Netflix. Which other companies are you paying close attention to, or at least looking out for when they do release their numbers?
Yeah, I think one that's always interesting is Tesla, which is likely to come out today, or is expected to come out today. Then we have some other big names as well. We've got Alphabet, we've got Microsoft, we've got Apple and Amazon over the next week. Obviously going to give some guidance on the tech side, following Netflix's numbers yesterday, which were very disappointing, and we saw a severe decline in the share price. So just give an indication of, the volatility that remains in terms of a company's earnings. This under significant geopolitical risk environment, high fuel prices, high food prices, as well as high commodity prices. So, looking at what the Fed is expected to do in May with their increase and monetary tightening, I think it's going to be very, very volatile. But those are the big names that I definitely keep an eye on.
All right, Carmen, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. That is Carmen Bellona from Absa Asset Management, giving us her perspective in terms of some of the U.S. company earnings that she will be keeping a close attention to, and as well as some of the earnings that will be coming out today. Tomorrow, we'll unpack Tesla's earnings for you in detail, so stay tuned for that. But for now, I leave you in the capable hands of Nompumelo Sizeba. It's a goodbye from me.
SABC News has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to broadcasting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful to children, does not amount to hate speech, and contains no gratuitous violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, you may inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaint to P.O. Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024, or send a fax to 011